Welcome back. Our guest is Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, retired private security and defense consultant and trainer. Thank you for staying with us, Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu. Just before we go on, Mohammed in Zaria had called in, so I'll put him on now. Good morning to you, Mohammed in Zaria.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to our special guest.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I am in support of what the Prof just said. Of course, well, the normal way of understanding court-martialing is that it may lead to death sentence, which may encourage or rather discourage the coming Air Force guys or rather the military guys. So, and whatever we are doing, we should look at it that well. When a mistake is done, or we should try to learn from it. Not that we should more or less like take it as do or die affairs or take it as activities just sentimental. So this is military. They are there to guide, to safeguard life and property of this nation. So if there's a mistake, we should just look at it and then try to value it. Acceptance was made at the initial stage. So I think going forward, we should try to just make sure that the court-martialing is not something that will discourage the upcoming officers. Thank you very much. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much for calling in on that particular aspect, Mohammed in Zaria. But I think it is also as well that we understand that we are speaking as civilians and that military people, they sort of conform to a different order of service and rules of engagement, and the worldview is different. And that's why we really need an expert and an insider to help us understand it. Coming back to you, Group Captain, you've used the term collateral damage, and I wanted to try and understand that. Now, please correct where I'm not getting it quite spot on. If an objective is ascertained, for instance, take out target B, and that is done. But in taking out target B, there are some environments or some other damage that was not intended and that might not have been, we wouldn't have been able to take out target B without incurring that damage of unintended surroundings. Now, is that collateral damage, and is that different from making a complete mistake, misidentifying a target, and therefore opening fire on them? Misidentification of a target, is that collateral damage too?
Thank you very much. This question has given me the opportunity to cover some areas raised by Professor Edmond. I hope he's still listening, which I actually failed to address. He made a valid observation. First, he said in warfare, collateral damage is inevitable. That is true. And international humanitarian law, or law of war, or law of armed conflict recognizes that fact. Throughout the length and breadth of international law, there is nowhere where it says the commander can only attack where he is 100% sure that there will not be collateral damage. There is nowhere in international humanitarian law where it is say collateral damage is prohibited. However, throughout, in several formulations, you find the requirement that the attacker must take all feasible precautions to ensure that collateral damage is either prevented or minimized. These terms, I'm using exactly the words that appear in the Geneva Convention and the protocols. This is always this. So the formulators of these laws, they understand, for example, what they call the fog of war. That is, while there is need for haste, it is not possible for a commander to have the whole picture before he said he will attack. So there will always be the element of the unknown. However, when it becomes inevitable, like the scenario you pointed, I like the scenario you pointed, you want to take out a target, the target is near another place, which is not a target, but you took out that target and it was that target. Now, what international humanitarian law expects you to do as commander presented with scenario is to bring the principle of proportionality. What is the target that I want to aim? I give an example, a group of 10 bandits. what is the incidental, the possible incidental damage. The 10 bandits are inside a primary school with 50 children in school and teachers. You do a proportionality. Now the proportionality will tell you, for the price of 10 bandits, should I include 50 children and teachers? This is where it comes in. This is why the proportionality goes in. So incidental damage should not be disproportionate. However, as ugly or as unfeeling as it will sound, if you are after Shekau and Shekau enters one bunker, and in that bunker already, unfortunately, there is one Megad, he's home with him, you have been looking for Shekau, you will be completely covered under international law because of the value of Shekau, because of the problem you had looking for Shekau, because of the value to the military advantage you will go by hitting. I mean, international humanitarian law can understand if you order a strike and you take out Shekau and you take out that farmer who is inside the place with him. So proportionality comes in. Collateral damage, again, I emphasize what I said, is inevitable. But inevitable, it means throughout, from the point of planning up to the last minute that you will drop your bomb, you are taking feasible precaution. There are many ways you can take feasible precaution. And where, yes, at the end, you make a proportionality assessment that what, yes, I am going to gain as a military advantage is not up to what I am going to lose in terms of civilian innocent lives, then you cancel the attack.
Yes, but to re-emphasize the point, sir, a mistaken target, for instance, a misidentification of a target, how do you relate that to collateral damage?
Exactly. Misidentification of target is one, in fact, in many, I can agree with you, in many collateral damage incidents, misidentification of target is about 60%, wherever, not only in Nigeria. If you look at any closely, when you look, it's misidentification in target, whether it is Iran, whether it is this Sudumbiri, whether it is the one in Zamfara, whether it's misidentification, okay, of target. So for misidentification,
it is still referred to as collateral damage. It is still referred to as collateral damage, not mistaken.
It's still part, yes, it's still collateral damage.
Okay.
It's still collateral damage. But at the same time, you are to use all. Okay, go ahead.
Let me bring on Mr. George, who has been waiting for a while. Good morning, Mr. George in Ikeja.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to the group captain.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, it would appear that there is something the military has not told us about the incident, because if the military is admitting that it was a mistake, it does not logically follow that you will have to punish somebody for something that is a mistake. But that is by the way. I have two questions for the group captain quickly. The first one is compensation. It's about 7 months now that this incident happened. Does he know whether the military has actually compensated the victims and their families? That's number one. Number two, since that incident, there has been a slowdown on the use of drones for bandits. Is that the reason why it was slowed down? That's my question.
All right.
Thank you.
Those are two questions. Thank you. It seemed like two, technical / professional questions. Okay, go ahead, Group Captain.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mistake. Punishment of mistake. Please, I want the caller to remember I took time to say that a board of inquiry will establish where there is culpable negligence. Culpable negligence is that the man has been trained. He has been given the correct equipment, yet he made a mistake. That is a mistake. For the military, that is something that can be punished. Then there is excusable negligence, where the man made a mistake because he didn't receive proper training or he didn't receive the proper equipment. In that case, the blame goes to the institution, or rather the military itself, for not giving him the training, but giving him a work which is beyond the kind of training or the equipment he has. So even as a mistake, with due respect, of course, I'm happy you understand that. That is, like I said, the hazard of the job of a military man. Unfortunately, for a mistake, there is this saying, pilot used to say that a doctor buries his mistakes, but a pilot will be buried with his own mistakes. Unfortunately for the military man, and it goes even with the police. If you remember, in America, we have this Black Lives Matter. The man is a law enforcement officer, but in applying the law, he killed somebody. He will pay. Just like what we had in Lagos, the policeman who, instead of stopping a vehicle with that female lawyer over Christmas, he shot her and she died. So these are issues. If you make a mistake, unfortunately, what the system will look at, did you make that mistake based on the system did not equip you to confront that kind of problem? If that is the case, then is the system itself that is at fault. If, on the other hand, the system has trained you, it has given you the correct equipment to carry it, and you still made a mistake, now, unfortunately, the mistake will be on the side of the sin. But please, I want us to understand, this case, the court-martial has not started. So we should be careful in preempting. So please, I want people to understand, when I am talking in general, how collateral damage happens, how investigation happens in general, not necessarily the Tudunbiri, because that will not be fair to even the people that are going to be tried and the people that are going to conduct the trials.
Something else I think you could clear up, Group C, is the calls that we've been getting, the comments that we've been getting about a humanitarian aspect to all of this. As you were saying, without impinging anything. But the military operates by different rules. The military doesn't operate by usual societal rules. It's a regimented organization. It's a rule-bound organization. And so when people come and talk about these aspects that are perhaps, in place on the outside society, to what extent do those apply? Because I imagine that the military has a rule book that they will refer to for different aspects of their procedure. So now that people are bringing in things about, understanding, sympathy, and all of that, to what extent do the army rule, the military rule books, for lack of a better expression, allow all of these?
Okay. The military man is bound by two sets of rules. First, the rule that applies to him as a citizen. That is the rule that regulates behavior between citizens. As a citizen, he is bound by that rule. But then again, by joining the military, he is also bound by an additional law, which is the military law. Now, in situations where the question is internal to the military, how a military man behaves with his commander, how he behaves with his superiors, how he attends mess, how he attends courses, all this will be guided by military laws. However, as a member of also the larger society, where the situation is involving the military man and the civil populace, unfortunately, any of these two rules can apply, whether it is the civilian one or the military. So, like in this case, I completely understand by joining the military, you subsume yourself to military laws. But the people that are involved in these things, they are not military men. That is the victim. Okay. So in that case,
bring on Mr. Bashoru. Bashoru is waiting to join us. So sorry to interrupt you, sir. Good morning, Mr. Bashoru.
Good morning, Uncle Fu.
Thank you very much, sir.
I appreciate what you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Please, I just want to put in a quick contribution.
Sure.
One, we have some military, both serving and retired service officers at the hierarchy. One, our understanding is this. Before you court-martial somebody, you must have identified through your internal administrative procedure that that person acted intentionally. But from what we have been getting about this case, it was like a mistake. If it's a mistake, I don't expect the military to give you some publicity they are giving it now in terms of commercialing and not commercialing. If it's a similar fact that it was a mistake, like Mr. Joe said the other time, probably there are some things that is happening that we don't know. You only court-martial when that person intentionally acted against the rules. But probably like Group Captain said, like when you want to go with a drone, you go with a command based on attitude where the drone should go. And in the course of wrong directions, and there's a mistake, I don't think you need to court-martial anybody.
All right.
Those ones, to my own knowledge, from what I got from my friends who are retired military officers, supposed to be probably internal mechanism when you want to court-martial somebody, you must have confirmed through your internal procedure that that person acted intentionally to debate the ministry. Then I need to ask a question too from a group captain. If you give a command to the drone, along that moment, and you discover that your command is wrong, can the drone be withdrawn or stop from acting? Those are my questions. But initially, if it's a mistake, the type of publicity we are giving to this thing
Mr.
can
Bashir,
discourage the other officer in future
thank you very
to
much.
act.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for calling
even
in.
when commanded to act.
We appreciate you. Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Bashir, because everybody is interested in this particular subject matter. The group captain, we're fast running out of time, so I'm quite desperate myself. I don't want it to be on a note where you explain something important. Have we been watching too many war films when we imagine that the person who is controlling the drone has superiors that are seeing everything that is going on, and that without a final order to fire, you cannot fire? And I think it relates a bit to Mr. Bashir's comment in there, that where you see that things are mistaken, is there time to respond? We see that often in war films, where at the theater of war, there are some superiors in a control center, just like I have a master control myself in studio here, where they can see everything going on. And if only when those people say, fire, before you can fire. Could you explain that whole area? Too much Nollywood or Hollywood, or any truth in that whatsoever?
Yes, sometimes there is too much of Hollywood, where people think that if it is a drone, everything is tick-tock, 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 tack. It's not like that. And again, I want people to consider drone. It's like your vehicle. You have a Mercedes, you have a Volkswagen Beetle, you have a Toyota. What do I mean? There are drones with different kinds of capabilities, depending on the sensors they have, depending on the cameras they have. But at the last end of it, there is the human person who will control. I told you something. If you give a drone area 4x4 by this latitude by latitude, it will go there and fire. But the duty of confirming what it is firing, is it actually enemy or friendly forces? It is the human element that will do that. And now, depending on the camera.
How would the human element know? Would that be the function of intelligence on the ground?
Exactly. That is the point, intelligence. I don't want to bring a specific case that is under investigation, but there are many ways that you can confirm intelligence. Mostly what other countries do, even for drone for air attack, that's what you call a forward air controller or a joint tactical air controller, who is somehow, at the risk of his life, will move near the target and will tell you 10 meters to my left, 10 meters to my right, they are still there. I have confirmed they are bandits. The point is, like I said, you cannot leave everything to the drone, no matter how sophisticated the drone is. The drone technology has not reached the stage where completely there is no human input. So in the long analysis, the guy is right to say, the person who said that, it is the job of the person to confirm if you have a different target, and then if it is not what you planned for, you cancel the attack. The other issue, please, I want to quickly address this, we don't have time.
Group Captain, and I know you might be reluctant to answer this particular question, but could the mistake have been as a result of faulty intelligence? Theoretically.
Well, again, what I will answer in general. You mentioned the issue of misidentification, which I said sometimes carries about 40% of whatever collateral damage. Faulty intelligence. Faulty intelligence. I don't want to talk about this particular case. Faulty intelligence, whether it is RAN, whether it is the one in Benue, in my own investigation, it is faulty. What do I mean by faulty intelligence? Somebody says there are a group of bandits in Vandekia. To the military man, that is just information. It is not yet intelligence. You that collected that thing, you will start preparing to go and attack. But while you are doing that, there's what is called processing of information into intelligence. How you confirm that? In fact, even the person who brought the news, if you have his record, is it somebody who normally brings correct information? Fine. But still, what I am saying, it is duty bound on you who is going to attack, not just to accept that information as it is, but to process it and continue processing it until you overhead the target and you are sure what you are going to hit is what was said. So faulty intelligence is also a major factor in collateral damage. In collateral damage, the one
Okay.
in Iran, because that one is already in the public domain. We have that it is bandits are in Iran, but it turned out that there were IDPs, and it was an IDP camp. A little finding out maybe from the police or from the village head would have told you that we have a village near here. There's what the military does, map preparation. If I'm going to operate in Abuja, I will put on my map where hospitals are, where diplomatic houses are, where schools are, with all their directions and their differences. So when I'm going to attack, I have what can I call environmental awareness, where I am. What is to my right? What is to my left? What is in front of me? What is behind me? These are some of the things that you have to process the intelligence.
You know what, Group Captain? Well, Group Captain, I'm afraid we've run out of time, and it's a most interesting conversation. But then to emphasize what you have done, you've emphasized that a number of times on the program, that you're talking in generic terms, not necessarily about the incident that is going to be the subject of a court-martial, just helping us to understand how it works. I want to thank you very much, Group Captain Sadiq Garba Shehu, retired, for coming on the program and helping us to understand how all these things work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.